I was window shopping with my little brother when a girl broke through the crowd and slapped me across the face. Shameless homewrecker. I saw red, whipped my arm back, and gave her two in return. Who the hell are you? She clutched her cheek, screeched a man's name. The man who came running was my fiancé, supposedly on a business trip overseas. He wrapped an arm around the girl, jabbed a finger at me. We're done. Before I could process it, my brother beside me chuckled low in his throat. Saturday afternoon at the mall, every aisle humming. The air was a sticky cocktail of perfume, Starbucks caramel, and movie theater popcorn. I'd just helped my brother Leo pick out a limited edition hoodie. I was heading to the register when the shout cracked through the noise. Shameless homewrecker. Next came the wind-up. Smack. A clean, echoing slap landed on my left cheek. My head snapped sideways, a kettle drum rang in my ear. For a heartbeat the whole shopping floor froze, every stare drilling into me. It took several seconds to reboot. When I did, rage flooded every capillary. I pivoted, eyes locking on the stranger in front of me, designer sunglasses pushed into her hair, logo belt, chest heaving with righteous fury. No hesitation. I swung. Smack. Smack. Two backhanders, full force, sent her stumbling. Who the hell are you? My voice came out hoarse, arctic. The girl gaped, cheeks ballooning crimson. Then she wailed. Ah. You hit me. Adrian, get over here. The name sliced straight into my heart. Adrian? He's in Singapore until next week. The crowd parted like stage curtains. And there he was, my fiancé, every gelled hair in place, the watch I gave him glinting under the atrium lights. He didn't even glance my way. He sprinted to the girl, folded her into his arms. Vivian, what happened? Did she hurt you? A tenderness he'd never used on me. Vivian nestled against him, pointed. That's her, the stalker who's been hounding you. I only said 2 words and she went crass. Why, look at my face. Only then did Adrian look at me. No fondness, no warmth, just pure, cold disgust. Serena, I never imagined you were this kind of person. Each syllable felt like an icicle through the ribcage. I stood blank, the scene too surreal to digest, my overseas fiancé cradling a sobbing stranger, branding me the other woman. That was when my brother finally moved. He caught my elbow, pitched his voice just loud enough for the onlookers. Sis, apologize to Adrian, quick, everyone's watching. With that single sentence he hammered the final nail. Serena, the jealous shrew who'd imploded in public. Whispers flared. So she's the side piece? Hit the actual girlfriend? Bold. Pretty face, trash morals. I ignored them. Ignored Adrian's glare. My eyes slid to Leo. And I caught it, the micro twitch at the corner of his mouth, gone almost before it formed. A detonation went off in my skull. Now I remembered, Leo had insisted we come to this out-of-the-way mall today, claiming a classmate tipped him off about the hoodie drop. When Adrian appeared, Leo hadn't looked surprised, only satisfied. Right after the slap, before I'd even found my balance, I'd heard a tiny hiss of laughter at my side. I'd thought I'd imagined it. I hadn't. My own brother had laughed. Ice crawled from my soles to my scalp, my lungs seized. This wasn't some accidental cheating reveal. It was a trap, rehearsed and baited, and my fiancé and my blood kin were in on it together. Adrian's stare hardened. He squeezed Vivian closer and delivered the verdict. Serena, we are finished. The condo and the car? Forget them, call it damages for destroying my new relationship. He swiveled away without another glance, Vivian tucked under his arm like some tragic heroine. Leo steered me out of the circle, clucking theatrically. Why'd you lose it, sis? Now Adrian's really mad. His fake concern grated. I wrenched free. He blinked, confused, as I studied him like an insect under glass. Why are you looking at me like that? I turned and walked. Stares and gossip prickled my skin like pine needles, but I felt nothing, only a vast, seething quiet, a riptide pulling every shard of hatred into a single, lethal current. The ride home felt a century long. Leo drove my car, sneaking glances in the mirror. I leaned against the window, watching the city smear into abstract streaks. Inside the house he morphed. Keys clattered onto the hall table. He bolted into the living room where our parents were half watching television. Mom. Dad. Serena attacked Adrian's girlfriend, he's dumping her. Mom's hand jerked, sunflower seeds sprayed. She leapt up, one slipper flying, and rushed me. No, are you hurt? No, what happened? Only her finger stabbing the air. Serena, have you lost your mind? Adrian's perfect for you, how could you hit his girl? Dad followed, brow creased. Sweetie, Leo saw everything. Temper. A disappointed sigh. Paul Adrian, apologize, swallow your pride. I stared at the three of them, my supposed family, a brother who'd lit the fuse, a mother policing the family's image, a father forever begging me to smooth things over. The last ember of loyalty inside me winked out. I let out a thin, airless laugh. Adrian said he's overseas. Why was he at the mall? Silence dropped like a curtain. Mom faltered, then rallied. He came back early to surprise you. You messed it up, turned romance into embarrassment. Yeah, must be, Leo echoed. Their willingness to twist reality for their perfect son-in-law-elect, for the sacred family face, carved the last chunk from my heart. I turned toward my bedroom. Don't you walk away. Mom shrieked. Blow this and lose Adrian? I disown you. I closed the door, clicked the lock. Outside, insults and Dad's softer appeasements bled through the wood, capped by Leo's saintly plea, sis, don't blame Mom and Dad, they only want the best. Open up, let's talk. Through the thick panel I heard it, a tiny, sated snicker. A serpent gorged and its own venom. I slid down the door, sat on the carpet, hands shaking, not from fear but from the purest rage I had ever owned. My nails carved crescents into my palms, the pain sharpened thought. Serena, do not cry. Tears are currency for the weak. What you will do is make them pay, tenfold, 100-fold, for every second of today's theater. Asterisk 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 I barricaded myself for 48 hours, no food, no water, no messages. Let them think I was broken, that was the camouflage I needed. Leo knocked like clockwork. Sis, Mom made soup. Sis, you're scaring me, I'll break the door. Sis, life goes on. Each performance confirmed what I knew, he was checking the depth of my collapse, waiting to certify the kill. Under the quilt my mind sprinted. This scheme wasn't spur of the moment. When had Adrian and Leo allied, and why? A simple breakup? No. Adrian could have ghosted me over coffee. Instead he detonated his own reputation to crown himself moral victor. Unless he needed a headline excuse to shove me out, and seize every dollar we'd pooled. His parting shot replayed, the condo and the car? Forget them, damages. The condo, both families had wired half the down payment, yet only his name sat on the deed. A man has to look legitimate, he'd joked. I'll add you after the wedding. Mom had practically thrown confetti at his chivalry. The BMW, my graduation savings plus Dad's subsidy, bought outright so Adrian could impress clients and my parents alike. Registered in his name for insurance ease. I barely drove it. Trust, I'd thought. Convenience, I'd thought. They'd been setting the chessboard while I applauded their generosity. And Leo, my own brother, was the sharpest piece in their hand. The thought hit me like ice water in my veins. I jackknifed upright in bed. I need proof. Without proof everything I say is just the raving of a spiteful woman. Proof? Where the hell do I find proof? My gaze swept the room and snagged on a dusty shelf above my bookcase. A tiny teddy bear. Our figurine sat ignored in the corner. It was actually a nanny cam. I'd bought it when I first moved in so I could check on my cat, Machi, while I was at work. After Machi died last year I forgot it existed. But, wait. A memory detonated. A few months back Dylan had barged in, whispering that burglars were hitting our building and insisting I install the ugly camera he'd picked out. I refused. He badgered me for days, then settled for the old teddy bear model. Come on, sis, stick it on the living room shelf, cute decor and free security. I'd rolled my eyes but humored him. It had a direct view of the sofa and coffee table, and it recorded audio. My pulse slammed against my skull. I scrambled for my old burner, fingers trembling as I opened the forgotten app. Device online. I yanked the timeline back to the night I locked myself in my room. The feed was black except for moonlight leaking through the blinds. 2:03 a.m. A phone vibrated on the coffee table. Dylan's bedroom door cracked open. Hey, Adrian, he whispered. I cranked the volume until it distorted. Adrian's lazy chuckle oozed through the speaker. So, your sister hasn't tried to off herself yet? Dylan actually giggled. She's like a dead dog, barricaded in her room. Mom and Dad are screaming that she's lost her mind. She's totally alone. Totally alone. The words were 4 red-hot nails hammered straight into my heart. I bit my lip so hard I tasted copper. Adrian purred. Good boy. Once Vivian and I are engaged and her dad signs the South deal, that Maserati I promised you is yours. Thanks, bro. You're 1,000 times cooler than my cheap sister. But what if she fights back? Dylan asked. Fight with what? Adrian sneered. Witnesses, photos, the bruise on your face, everyone saw the crazy bitch attack you. She could dive into the Hudson and still come up filthy. In 2 days, when she's starved and exhausted, you go in, play the loving brother, and convince her to walk away with nothing on it, Adrian. Tioch. Truth stripped me raw. For a shot at Vivian's fortune and her father's project, Adrian and my own brother had choreographed this breakup circus. They didn't just want me humiliated, they wanted me erased. I replayed the 15-minute file until every syllable was branded on my bones, then copied it to 5 different drives. In the mirror a ghost stared back, pale, hollow-eyed, yet burning with a frigid, almost surgical madness. No tears. Game on, boys. Sleep tight. The third morning I finally opened my door. Mom was lifting her hand to knock, a bowl of congee balanced in the other. She flinched when she saw me. You're finally out? I looked like a famine victim, lips cracked, eyes vacant, a marionette with its strings cut. The scolding died on her tongue. Eat your skin and bones. Dylan popped his head out, fake worry plastered across his face. Sis, you've come around. Here, start with this. I shuffled to the table and spooned porridge in silence. They mistook obedience for surrender. When the bowl was empty I retreated to my room and, with shaking thumbs, texted Adrian. Adrian, I was wrong. Can we meet one last time? I won't ask for anything, just need to see you. Within 5 minutes Dylan burst in waving his phone. He said yes. One final talk. Be sweet, okay? He's soft-hearted when you grovel. I lifted red-rimmed eyes and croaked, thank you, little bro. He patted my shoulder. What are families for? I chose the Riverdale bistro we used to frequent, arrived an hour early, and booked the corner booth. While the server poured water I peeled a button-sized recorder and stuck it beneath the marble tabletop. In the ladies' room I painted exhaustion on my face, charcoal shadows under my eyes, foundation over my lips, a watercolor of defeat. Adrian arrived on the dot. When he saw my wrecked appearance satisfaction flickered behind the mask of sorrow he'd donned. Serena, why torture yourself? I shot to my feet, tears gushing. Adrian, I'm sorry. I lost control, I embarrassed you, I sobbed until my shoulders convulsed. He soaked it up like sunshine. There. He slid a tissue across the table. Because we once loved each other, I'll let the assault slide. About assets, he flicked an invisible speck from his cuff. The condo is premarital, deeds in my name, same with the car. Legally you get zilch. I whimpered, playing dumb. Is it because of Vivian's money? The question amused him so much he dropped the act entirely. Grow up, Serena. Vivian opens doors you can't even find. Her daddy's South project is worth hundreds of millions. What are you? I collapsed on the tabletop, shoulders heaving. Grinning, he dialed Dylan on speaker. It's done. She's signing away everything. Pathetic. Dylan hooped. Told you she's a pushover. Adrian ended the call and, still smirking, rang Vivian. His voice turned to syrup. Hey, baby, yeah, that nuisance is history. See you tonight, bringing your favorite strawberry shortcake. Tears dripped from my chin onto the cold stone. Under the curtain of my hair, my mouth curved into a razor smile. Humiliation transformed into ammunition. Evidence, secured. Act I of revenge began with severing Adrian's golden escalator to the 1%. Home again, I locked my door and created a burner email no forensic nerd could trace. I trimmed the lunch recording to 3 killer lines. Vivian's such a sucker, like I'd marry her for anything but her dad's Rolodex. South looks shiny, but the inside's rotten. Without me the old man drowns. Once I siphon shares and lock the deal, we'll see who's on whose leash. Vivian, spoiled and proud, would rather torch her trust fund than be labeled a sucker. I emailed the clip anonymously to the address Adrian had once bragged about. I wasn't finished. I opened my CAD archives and pulled every note I'd ever taken on South. As an interior designer I'd spotted the flaw the moment Adrian brayed about his cutting-edge ecological loop, gorgeous on paper, structurally Susie. Dal. I spent the night crafting a 10-page technocratic memo, no insults, just data, load ratios, shear stress, maintenance projections, demonstrating that Adrian's crown jewel feature could cave the superstructure. I even appended a cheaper, safer retrofit. I sent the memo, plus Adrian's original schematic, to Horizon's public project inbox. Then I nuked my hard drive and slept like a baby. The hurricane landed 48 hours later. I was in the living room half watching a talk show when Dylan's door slammed open. He skidded toward me, phone clenched like a grenade. Sis, Adrian's deal just imploded. My eyes widened. What? Vivian heard rumors and blew up. White pulled every dollar. Horizon dropped a counter-proposal that tears Adrian's plan apart. The board is screaming corporate espionage, his promotion is toast. My phone rang, Adrian. I hit speaker. His roar rattled the crystal. Serena, was it you? Answer me. I infused my voice with trembling confusion. Adrian, I don't understand. I've been home waiting for you. Bullshit, he shrieked. Dylan grabbed the phone. Bro, chill. She hasn't left the apartment. Maybe you pissed off someone else? A vacuum hiss came through the speaker, Adrian swallowing a theory that didn't fit the Idiot X mold. He hung up. I lowered my eyes so neither of them would see the Arctic gleam. Round 1, delivered. It doesn't make sense. He's drowning in panic and confusion, lashing out, suspecting everyone around him. A jealous coworker at the investment bank? A secret suitor circling Vivian? I watched Dylan scramble to calm Adrian on the phone, the two of them flailing like headless flies trapped in the maze they built with their own hands. I lift the glass from the coffee table and take a small sip. The warm tea slides down my throat, dissolving the exhaustion of the past few days. The first harvest of revenge tastes sweet. Adrian's dream of shooting sky high is shattered. The Maserati he promised Dylan evaporates into thin air. Dylan M. Opes for days, shooting me furtive glares thick with blame, as if his useless big sister single-handedly sank his glittering future. I pretend not to notice. I know the real show hasn't even started. Growing up, Dylan was pampered by our parents, free with money, drunk on vanity, allergic to the concept of budgeting. In college he fell hard for sports betting and took out plenty of predatory online loans to keep up his rich kid facade. He hid it from mom and dad, only confessing to me. Every time he blew a hole in his wallet he'd come crying, begging me to clean it up. And every single time I caved. Now those bad habits are about to become the dominoes that blow his life apart. One afternoon Dylan slinks over, twitchy. Sis, he says, rubbing his palms, smile syrupy, I'm a little tight. Could you spot me $5,000? It's nothing huge. I close my book and meet his eyes with a shattered, helpless look. Dylan, it's not that I won't help. You know I'm basically penniless now. I sigh. Adrian walked off with the house and the car. What's left in my account has to cover rent. I really can't. Dylan's face collapses. How useless can you be? Can't even cough up 5,000, he snaps. I drop my gaze and quietly cry. Maybe realizing he went too far, he waves a hand and stalks off. Forget it, I'll figure it out. I watch his back, my eyes ice cold. That night, after mom and dad fall asleep, I spend an hour on a photo editing app forging a WhatsApp thread between Dylan and me. In it, he spews vile threats, demanding $5,000, vowing to storm my new office and ruin my career if I refuse. I beg, claim I'm broke, plead for mercy. The finished screenshot paints him as a heartless punk shaking down his own sister, and me as a cornered, penniless woman. I print the screen grabs and slip them into mom's bedtime reading, a thick tome called Total Wellness. She flips through it every night without fail. Job done, I open my laptop. I remember Dylan bragging about his favorite Ting app. I'm no hacker, but I have other tools. I hire an online private eye, hand over Dylan's personal details and the URLs of the underground sites he frequents. My instructions are simple: make him lose everything. And make sure the sharks come knocking on my parents' door first. 2 days later the landline starts ringing. At first mom assumes it's spam and hangs up. The calls keep coming, nastier each time. Finally one lender texts dad a photo, Dylan, ID card in trembling hand, surrounded by tattooed collectors, plus a dozen loan contracts from different platforms. The grand total is a figure that could implode our mediocre household, $800,000. Dad's phone clatters to the floor. He stands frozen. Mom sees the picture, screams, almost faints. Impossible. Our boy would never gamble or borrow like that. She storms into Dylan's room, drags him from bed. Still drowsy, he takes one look at the screen and goes white. Under fire he denies, deflects, then crumples, kneeling and sobbing out the whole story. The house erupts. Dad, half a heartbeat from a heart attack, chases him with a feather duster. Mom clings to Dylan, wailing, pounding his chest, calling him a fool. In the chaos mom remembers something. She races back, yanks the WhatsApp forgeries from her wellness book. Seeing Dylan extort me and me refuse, she finds the perfect scapegoat. Grief flips to volcanic rage. She barges into my room like a lioness, hand raised to slap. This is all you jinx. Your brother asks for help and you turn him cold? If you'd handed over that $5,000 he'd never have touched those loan sharks. You just couldn't stand to see him thrive, murderer. Every sin is dumped on my shoulders. I drove her perfect son to the cliff's edge. Dad rushes in, physically stops her, but the disappointment in his eyes is a slap of its own. Serena, you've let us down, he says. I stand silent, letting Mom's curses reign over me. No explanations, no protests. I simply gaze at them, at this rotting, hopeless family. The flawless, cherished son facade has cracked. And this is only the opening act. The house sinks under Dylan's debt. Mom and Dad cash in their lifelong savings bonds and hit up every relative, scraping together $200,000. Still $600,000 short. Collection calls hammer the line day and night. One morning red paint spells pay up across our front door. My parents age overnight. Dylan hides in his room like a spooked bird. When tension peaks, I finally speak. At dinner I eye their haggard faces and Dylan's hollow stare, then offer my solution. Mom, Dad, we can't go on like this. Why don't we invite Adrian over? 3 heads jerk up. Mom shrieks, why? To laugh at us? He's nothing to this family now. I shake my head, gentle and earnest. You forget, Adrian works at an investment bank. He knows people, he has leverage. Maybe he can fix Dylan's debt. I add, tell him we'll mortgage ourselves to repay his project losses. It's our only shot at getting him back and saving the family. My words are a lifeline, hope flickers in their eyes. Yes, Adrian. He's capable, connected. If he can save their boy, they'd sell their souls. They speed dial before I finish speaking. Dylan lifts his head, hope reignited, 1 stone, 2 birds, wipe his debt and show his future brother-in-law the family's sincerity. Only I know what banquet I'm really catering. I keep smiling. To show good faith we should also invite Vivian and her father. After all, I slapped her at the mall. I ought to apologize in front of everyone. If White forgives me, maybe he'll stop squeezing Adrian. Adrian will be grateful. Pride replaces their despair. Serena, you're finally mature, Dad beams. Mom's already dialing. I'll call Adrian right now. Adrian, frantic for a lifeline, smells salvation. He agrees instantly, and talks Vivian and White into coming along. In his mind he'll stage a magnanimous reconciliation, win back White's trust. And I'll be the humble prop. After the call I retreat to my room, pull out my backup phone, open the burner email, and paste the private address of White, bought from the same detective. I attach the complete 15-minute recording, every scheme, every sneer Adrian spat at Vivian, every plot he hatched with Dylan to fleece me. At the bottom I type, Chairman White, 7 p.m. tonight your future son-in-law Adrian will stage his annual blockbuster of self-sacrifice for the South Project, bowing to his vicious ex-household in Unit X, Building X, XX Estate. Curtain rises, enjoy the show. I delete every trace, step to the closet, and pick my outfit for the evening, a simple white dress. Tonight I am the star. I will pin their ugliness, greed, and idiocy under the spotlight for all to see. The doorbell rings at 7 on the dot. Mom scurries over, face creased in a nervous smile. 4 people stand outside, Adrian, tailored and smug, Vivian, bored and haughty, a commanding middle-aged man with bodyguard in tow, clearly White. Mom ushers them in, gushing, Adrian, come sit. Vivian, Chairman White, welcome. Dylan pops out, bowing like a bellhop. Adrian, Vivian, Chairman, good evening. Adrian and Dylan trade a furtive, gleeful look. Vivian surveys our modest living room like a princess inspecting stables, lip curled. White says nothing, gaze resting on each of us, finally pausing 2 seconds on me. In my white dress I sit quietly in the corner, the picture of a penitent girl awaiting verdict. Once seated, the farce begins. Mom pours tea, drags me to Vivian. Vivian, I'm so sorry. Our Serena was rash the other day, please forgive her. Dad nods. We've scolded her. Serena, apologize. I murmur, head down, I'm sorry. Vivian sniffs. Adrian seizes the cue, stands, and delivers his Oscar pitch, grave yet generous. Uncle, aunt, please. Serena acted on impulse. I know she meant no harm. He turns to White. Sir, this is my fault. I let personal issues spill over. I apologize to you, ND to Vivian. He performs with such sincerity you'd think he's the injured saint. Mom wells up, clasping his hand. Good kid, such a good kid. We wronged you. Dad declares, Adrian, we know you've lost money on the South deal. We'll find a way to cover it, and Dylan's debt, please. Adrian waves modestly. Uncle, I couldn't possibly. Just as he's about to speechify, I rise. I lift the phone from the coffee table and tap the screen. Then I power on the Bluetooth speaker I gave Dylan for his birthday, the one with the best sound in the house. A faint crackle, and Adrian's voice, cocky and clear, fills the room. The minute Vivian and I are engaged and her dad hands me south, that Maserati I promised you is a done deal. Next, Dylan, giddy, thanks, bro. You're 1,000 times cooler than my stingy sister. Total silence. Time freezes. Adrian's expression slides from pride to shock to horror to sheet white dread. He stares at me, at the phone in my hand still playing the clip, as if I'm a ghost. The gratitude and pride on my parents' faces frozen to shock and disbelief. Leo shot off the sofa like he'd been electrocuted, skin paper white, body shaking like a leaf in a gale. Vivian's mouth made a perfect O. She glanced from Adrian to me, still trying to process what had just happened. Only White stayed blank. He lifted his teacup, blew across the steam, watching the scene like a play that had nothing to do with him. Adrian finally snapped. With a roar he hurled himself at me, clawing for my phone. Serena, you psycho! Give me that. I was ready. A casual sidestep and he crashed face first into the carpet. Leo scrambled behind Mom, terror in every limb. Mom and Dad stared at Adrian on the floor, then at Leo cowering behind Mom, lips trembling, speechless. I ignored them and hit play next. The Bluetooth filled the room again with Adrian's voice, cocky, calculating. That idiot Vivian actually thinks I love her? I'm just after the pull her old man has. This time Vivian understood. OD. Her complexion ran the spectrum from rose to scarlet to liver purple. Ah, she shrieked, lunging at the man on the floor, fists flying. You bastard. You liar. I'll kill you. The living room became a war zone. White finally set down his cup. Porcelain met wood with a delicate clink, loud enough to freeze everyone. He rose, walked over to the tangle of bodies on the rug. He didn't even glance at his daughter. His gaze, twin blades dipped in poison, pinned Adrian. Crack. The slap rang out, louder and nastier than the one I'd given Vivian days before. Adrian's cheek ballooned, blood beaded at the corner of his mouth. Drag him out, White ordered the bodyguards without raising his voice. Tell legal to sue him for commercial fraud and defamation. The guards hoisted the dazed Adrian like a sack of flour and hauled him away. White never looked back. He came straight to me, first time tonight he'd met my eyes. His look held appraisal, reluctant respect, and something like remorse. Serena, apologies. My family has caused you trouble. I met him steadily and shook my head. No trouble now. After the outsiders left, the real trial began. The living room was a wreck, silent as a tomb. Mom and Dad were still paralyzed by shame. Leo knelt, trembling like an autumn leaf, unable to speak. The evidence was iron, he couldn't bluff. Dad's finger shook as he pointed at his son. You, ungrateful whelp. You ganged up with outsiders against your own sister. Heartbreak cracked his voice. Mom finally stirred, only to throw her arms around Leo and wail. Little you, my baby, how could you be so stupid? Leo clutched her legs, sobbing with her. Mom, I was wrong. It was all Adrian, he seduced me. He promised a sports car, a seat at his table. I was just jealous. Why does she get everything? Best college, glossy job, your love. I'm nothing. Every vile thing he'd done was repackaged as victimhood. I wanted to vomit. Everything? Half my tuition came from part-time gigs. After graduation, a third of every paycheck went home so Mom and Dad could brag about our daughter, the investment banker. My glamour was built on sleepless nights and maxed out credit cards, while Leo sucked my blood and envied my strength. Before I could answer, Mom lifted her tear-streaked face to me. Not a single reprimand for her son, just a plea edged with guilt. Serena, he's your brother. He knows he's wrong. Can't you forgive him? Must you air our dirty laundry until the neighbors laugh? I looked at her, and laughed until tears ran. So in her story I'm the villain for refusing to swallow a knife. Forgive? I echoed, voice hollow. I'm the one who was slapped in public, framed, almost ruined. And you want me to pardon the person who shoved me into that abyss, because he's my brother? Mom and Dad had no reply. I wiped my eyes, inhaled, and delivered the verdict with calm I didn't know I owned. His gambling debt is yours to fix. From today, I have no family, and no brother. I went to my room, pulled out the photocopied family register and a notarized statement of severance, and laid them on the coffee table. Dad stared, mouth working, then collapsed onto the sofa like a puppet with cut strings. Mom shrieked, leaping as if scalded. Serena, you'd abandon your own flesh for a stranger? I turned, meeting her rage-twisted face. The moment you chose him over me, we stopped being family. I gave them no time to argue. Back in my room, I locked the door, lifted the suitcase I'd packed in secret, clothes, laptop, documents, and rolled it out. The apartment was stone silent. I didn't look back, shoes on, door open, gone. I checked into a hotel near my office. Next morning I met my attorney friend. I handed over the 2 full recordings, proof I'd wired the 50 grand condo down payment, and the contracts Leo forged with my info for predatory online loans. 2 demands: 1. Sue Adrian, return my 50K plus pain and suffering. 2. Sue Leo, identity theft fraud. She grinned. Serena, beautiful. We've got them. Cold. No mercy, no hesitation. Some people only learn when it hurts. The law moved faster than expected. Already sued by White, Adrian imploded after my writ arrived. His bank fired him within hours and blacklisted him industry-wide. Overnight the golden boy became a pariah. He cornered me outside the office twice, weeping for leniency. I filed a restraining order. Leo's crimes were clearer: stolen identities, illegal gambling, 6-figure losses. Police collected him from the apartment. I was drafting blueprints in my new rental when Mom called. The instant I answered she screamed, "Serena, you monster. Cops took your brother, his life is over. Say it was a mistake, drop the case. I'll kneel if I must." I listened without a word while the woman I once idolized begged and cursed. My heart stayed flat. I hung up, then blocked every relative who might carry their pleas. I walked to the window. Afternoon sun poured through the glass, warm and clean. The cloud that had smothered me for years finally lifted. Endgame held 0 surprises. Adrian lost, repaid my 50,000 plus 20 more in damages. His name is Mud, no one will hire him. Word as he paints walls for a fly-by-night crew, covered in plaster dust. One red light day I spotted him handing out flyers, greasy hair, wrinkled uniform. He saw the car he once considered his, ducked, and vanished into traffic. Leo drew a 1-year sentence. Mom and Dad sold the big condo they'd boasted about for decades and moved to a cramped rental on the edge of town. Mom, once addicted to Instagram bragging about her perfect son and golden son-in-law, now hides indoors, terrified of whispers. A former neighbor told me they're sorry, they long to see me. I sent back, "You chose the path and spoiled the boy. Now eat the fruit." No triumph, just limitless relief. With Adrian's payoff and my savings I opened my own interior design studio. My life finally belongs to me alone. 1 year later, my studio's project Rebirth took top prize at a national competition. On stage, trophy in hand, I felt nothing but quiet pride. Business boomed, life leveled. At an industry summit I met a new partner, Dylan, founder of a rising architecture firm, grounded, respectful, eyes free of calculation. We moved from collaborators to close friends. He knows my history. "That chapter doesn't define you," he says. "It only proves how tough you are." I'm learning to trust, to love again. The day Leo walked free I stayed away. Anonymously I wired money to my parents, enough for groceries, not redemption. Not forgiveness, just the last duty of a daughter. That night I drove to the beach. Wind combed my hair, waves hummed on the sand. I opened the family photo I could never delete, young Mom and Dad, Leo, and I laughing on green grass when the sky was endless blue. I gazed at it a long time, whispered, "Goodbye," and pressed delete. I turned toward the boardwalk where headlights glowed. Dylan waited by the car, door open, smile brighter than the stars. The road ahead is wide open, and this time I march it for myself, straight into the light.